Hello everyone, hope you're having an amazing day and welcome back to the second devlog of GunSmith, which is my roguelike game about crafting your own weapons from different weapon parts to produce some amazing combos. But before we continue, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this video. So with that being said, let's begin. So I have a really big issue with staying consistent, and that's only made worse with school literally sucking out my soul and my wallet. And yeah, it was keeping me really busy with test after test, but hopefully by the time this comes out I'm done with my exams. But I did do some stuff over the unspecified amount of weeks I was gone. So yeah, what did I do? Okay, so the first thing I did was level generation. Almost every roguelike out there has this, and my game is no different. So yeah, I decided to add it into my game, but since I'm lazy, I just did some copy-paste action from a previous game's level generation system, and I was done. So, how does it work? Well, to my limited knowledge, there are three ways of achieving this in a 2D game. One is cellular automata, in which you spawn a random selections of points in a grid of different types, then loop through each cell in the grid, check its neighbors, and then change it to the tile that's most dominant amongst its neighbors, and then do this step a few times to make the level smoother. This is good for organic looking levels, so you can also use purling noise to achieve this for a more smooth effect, but yeah, I went for my own approach. The other is the random walker algorithm, in which you fill a grid with non-walkable tiles and then spawn walkers on the grid that can move in any random direction for a number of steps and then change to another direction while carving out the path as it goes. Games like Nuclear Throne do this to the best of my knowledge again. Then you have a type of level generation in which you have predefined room templates, which you can have an opening in any of the 4 directions, and then when generating levels you just piece them together. Enter the Dungeon does this, as well as Slime Keep. So I decided to go for the cellular automata and walker algorithm approach at once because it gives me some very nice levels, and because I do not have the creativity to make handmade levels. So who knows, I might come back to this later. Okay, so now I have to do to make a level is define its tile set and some props that I want to appear in the level, as well as its size and a bunch of other boring parameters, and boom, the level is done. Okay, cool, we have infinite levels, but what about weapons? So in the previous video, I talked about how the weapon systems in my game works in a bit of detail, but I added a few more things to the game that will make gameplay and progression a lot better in my opinion. So the first thing I did was add augmentations. What are augmentations? Well, these are modular attachments that you can add to your weapon in the game to give it more effects, and they really do add a lot to game. For instance, say you have a pistol, or in the context of my game, a weapon combo with the same stats as a pistol. Now, having it to fire a few bullets per second is nice, but what if when you fire a bullet, it splits into 5 extra bullets mid-air, and that each track the closest enemy and cause the enemy to be lit on fire? You can do this, and here's an example of some in-game footage. These augments really add a lot to gameplay and hopefully add some replayability. If you have any idea for augments, you can leave them in the comments or on my Discord server. The link will be in the description as always. Augments might add a lot to gameplay, but these can make the game really broken at times. The problem is that enemies randomly pick their weapons from the same pool as the player. Hence, you can have a low-level enemy firing player tracking exploding rounds. Evidently, this would not be very nice for gameplay, so I decided to add some kind of rarity to these, which locks certain enemies up to a certain range of weapons, meaning low-level enemies are restricted to low-level parts. This also has an effect with drops, which I will talk about in a bit. So after I added this weapon rarity, this actually broke my save system for a bit because of the way I was saving player held parts and sorting them in the game. Basically, when I add a new part to the game, they are stored in an array and stored based on rarity. So adding new parts would lead to things being moved around. I sorted this out by making the list constant and only appending the new part I add to them. I know this does not make sense without me actually explaining how I'm doing this in detail, but yeah, just know it's there. So the rarities I added were, well, common weapons, uncommon weapons, rare, and then player only weapons. The player only weapons being the highest tier, meaning these are only parts that the player can hold, meaning certain gun parts will not appear on enemies because they are too overpowered or will break gameplay. So with all this done, I decided to add status effects to the game because being able to do damage to enemies over time is nice. So yeah, I did that. I haven't implemented many status effects just yet, just a base of what it will look like in the end. I made the status effects either activate with a random chance every time a bullet hits something, or they can stack, and each time they stack, the effect does more damage, and finally they will only activate once they reach a certain amount. So basically they will build up and then explode in one glorious amount of damage. The ideas that I have for effects at the moment are fire, ice, and electric shock, but if you have any more, again, you can leave them down in the comments or over on the Discord server. So we have pickups in the game, or at least a base of what I intend to add in the future. The pickups range from simple health and ammo to gun part pickups. In the future, I will add tools to the game that will basically add another layer to gameplay. Aside from that, I also drew up some mysterious looking merchant, and it does look like someone in an apocalypse, unlike the main character, but a redesign is coming soon. The merchant design was inspired by one of my favorite games, being Resident Evil 4's merchant, and after drawing him up, I added him into the game. Now, adding this guy to the game brought about one issue, which is how I spawn him and his shop into the world. This was surprisingly easy to work out. You see, when I generate a level, I can pick a list of all positions that are walkable. Then all I have to do is spawn in his shop somewhere in the world and then destroy any non-walkable tiles in the area and make them walkable. This means I can add props and structures into the world, making it a bit more populated now. I then added some basic UI for the menu. I love the put together look that some items in post-apocalyptic games have. My vocabulary really sucks and I'm not good at English, but I hope this made some sense. Basically, the way items in games look like they were just put together from random parts. And yeah, I wanted that in my game. I mean, the weapon system is basically that. So I drew up some UI elements, mainly for the main menu and some for the status bars that are in the game. I haven't added the ones for the status bars as I was not really happy with how they turned out in the end, but yeah, I will redo them in the future, but for now, here's the main menu. So pretty much that's what I've made for this game so far. I just want to thank you for watching this far. It means a lot. So moving forward, I have somehow come up with the base design of what I want the main gameplay loop for the levels to be like, and I will talk about that in another devlog once I somehow fully implement it. Yeah, I will also be implementing some features into the game like utilities and a cool bounty system that Naponova on Discord suggested. You can also join the Discord to chat with members of the community. We are trying to get to 1k subs by the end of the year, so it would be a huge help if you could leave me a sub if you enjoyed the video. Finally, bye. I hope you have an amazing and productive day, and I will see you next time.